You know, I'm pretty sure authors just like smash on their keyboard to come up with names. I swear my brain cells will kick in eventually. Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we are doing part 2 of my book haul. So the first part, Thrifted books, has already been uploaded. In the last 2 months, so since the middle of July to the beginning of September, I have purchased quite a few books. The majority of them were actually thrifted, hence why I broke this down into 2 parts. The bit that I have here, I'm actually pretty impressed with myself that these are all the brand new books. The majority of them were actually gifted, so thank you so much for everyone for that. But also, just in general, I have slowed down on buying brand new books to focus more on if I want a book then I can thrift it because it's much cheaper. It worked out pretty well, especially in August. Like, I didn't buy any brand new books, it was all thrifted, so that was amazing. But right, let's get straight into these books. So the first one, okay, I did buy myself and I bought it yesterday, which at the time of me filming this was like the 2nd of September. But it did have £3 off, so it was still in a sale. That's how I'm justifying it to myself. Anyway, this is Summer Suns by Lee Mandello, and this is a book that I've seen pop up quite a bit on TikTok actually. But if you like dark academia, then give this book a try. And I have recently been really enjoying it. So I've recently read Bunny by Mona Awad and If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, and I really enjoyed both of those books. And I feel like I want to try more dark academia books. Like, there's been a handful that I've really enjoyed. Some I don't get on with, and I'm thinking to do an actual video on dark academia books I like, and then ones that I haven't got on with and why I think that is. Let me know if you'd be interested. This is one that I'm hoping will fall into that category of me liking. So this one, we're actually following Andrew and Eddie. They're best friends until Eddie left Andrew behind to start his graduate program at Vanderbilt. 6 months later, only days before Andrew was to join him in Nashville, Eddie dies of an apparent suicide. So Andrew is trying to search for the truth of Eddie's death, uncovers loads of lies and secrets, and just discovering loads and loads of stuff that's been going on. It sounds really interesting, really intriguing. I don't know whether this is going to be specifically what I see dark academia as, because dark academia to me, which I should save this for the video that I may or may not do, but is more of hyper focusing on a subject or something that happens, and to the point where you cross the boundaries of what is moral. I don't know if that book, if this is going to have it or not, but regardless, it does sound like an interesting like thriller murder mystery anyway. But let's read the first line. Okay, so it's actually text messages. Come home, I'll be waiting. Received 8th for the 6th, or this is American, so 6th of August, 3:32 AM. And then the text, the actual start of it, the message sat unanswered. There we go. I do think this is going to be a bit more of like a spooky, thrillery mystery. Whether it hits the dark academia bit, I don't know, but I am quite fussy with that. But either way, I'm hoping to enjoy it. Let me know if you've read it. Then we have a book that I was gifted by one of you lovely people, and that's actually Eric. So I know him outside of YouTube, but he actually gifted me Dracula by Bram Stoker. More specifically, this beautiful English library edition. Look how stunning that is. The cover is just perfect. I love all the different colours of grey, and then of course the spine with the iconic orange stripes. Just everything about this I'm in love with, because I have been struggling to find this book for ages, absolutely ages. I've been going into Waterstones consistently trying to find this edition, and I can never find it. If they do have Dracula, it's in a different edition and it's not what I want. I know that's me being quite particular, but I already have 2 editions of Dracula and I do love it, but I really wanted to collect it in this edition because this is my favourite classic edition, and I was having no hope. Like, I could not find it anywhere. I started looking at other places as well. Like, whenever I went into a bookshop, I would automatically go straight to their classic section, or if it was all mixed in, then straight to like where Bram Stoker should be. Couldn't find it. And so when Eric gifted me this, I was so happy, like so grateful. This has been such a struggle for me to actually find, and the fact that he was like, here, you can have this, I just, yeah, I was so grateful, so happy. And as much as I know, Eric, you've said many times that I don't need to say thank you because you're thanking me for the content, regardless, thank you so much. This has been amazing, absolutely amazing. Yes, Yes, so happy. Oh, and if you don't know Dracula by Bram Stoker, it is, well, one, how can you not know? It's the person that originally wrote Dracula. All the inspirations for where vampires and stuff come from. It's pretty much in this. It's not the very first classic that had vampires in it, but it's definitely the classic that got the most notice and the most hype around it. This is fantastic. It's done in like letters and journal entries and everything, and we're following a few different perspectives, but it starts off with Jonathan Harker going to this castle where Count Dracula is, and he's wanting to purchase property in London. So Jonathan Harker is there because he's just the go-between to make all of this happen, and he realizes while he's in Transylvania and the castle and everything, things are just not what they seem, and it just gets really dark from there. I really want to reread this actually. It's been a couple years. Actually, it's probably been about 4 years since I've read this one, maybe longer, so I definitely want to read this soon. You know what, even though it's a reread, let me do the first line because it's a good book. Jonathan Harker's journal, kept in shorthand. 3rd of May. Left Munich at 8:35 p.m. On 1st of May, arriving at Vienna early next morning, should have arrived at 6:46, but train was an hour late. One book that I did get recently and paid full price for is the uncensored edition of Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. Now, this is stunning, and I actually only found out about it because of TikTok. I'm so excited to read this one. Now, this is really interesting because the uncensored edition only comes in this edition, and it's actually something that not a lot of places stock. Like Waterstones does not sell this at all. I went onto a website, Queer Lit UK, I'll have them in the description below actually, to find this edition because not many places had it. It was through a TikTok video that I even found that this was a thing and the places to buy it from. I cannot wait. I'm so intrigued. I've read the Picture of Dorian Gray, like the censored edition, and I actually read that I think 2 years ago now at the very start of this channel, and I did enjoy it. I actually found it very interesting, but I cannot wait to read the uncensored version and to actually see what's going on. Apparently there's a lot more sways towards homosexuality in this book and just a lot more of the debauchery and everything that goes on. I'm really, really intrigued. I want to read this one soon so that I can actually do a comparison. While the original Picture of Dorian Gray is still fresh in my mind, although it was 2 years ago, like I do remember it. I think it's going to be so interesting to actually see the differences, and I am eternally grateful to TikTok for letting me know about this book because I would never have even realised that this was a thing because it's just not something you see in bookshops very commonly at all. Let me know, have you read this one? Did you even know that there was an uncensored version? I'm very intrigued. Oh, actually, again, first line, I always forget this. Okay, there is quite a bit of like notes and everything in this one. There's a general introduction, there's a textual introduction, like it actually comes with a lot. So the Picture of Dorian Gray is not actually a long story. The studio was filled with the rich odour of roses, and when the light summer wind stirred amongst the trees of the garden, there came through the open door the heavy scent of lilac, or the more delicate perfume of the pink flowering thorn. Okay, well, that's lots of books I already want to read straight away. In the middle of July, I was getting a bit frustrated because I actually went around Waterstones looking for some specific editions, Bram Stoker's Dracula being one of them, and I couldn't find them. And I was in the massive flagship store that's in Piccadilly Circus. Like, it's huge. It's the biggest Waterstones in Europe, I think. And I just got really frustrated that I couldn't find the books that I was after in the English Library editions. I was really surprised. So I ended up walking out with a few books that I probably wouldn't have bought otherwise because I was so annoyed. Made sense to my mind. But one of them is Margaret Atwood's The Penelope Ad. Now, Margaret Atwood, I have to admit, I've not read any of her works and I'm not that interested in things like The Handmaid's Tale. This I'm interested in because this is a retelling and it's all about Penelope. Penelope is Odysseus's wife, and we're seeing it from her perspective where Odysseus has gone to the Trojan War but then taken such a long time, like obviously it was 10 years there, then another 10 years to get back because of all the events that happened in the Odyssey with Odysseus. We're seeing how she handled that, how she managed to fight off suitors and keep like political things running and deal with all of that, and apparently it's really good, and I was actually quite surprised that it's so short. So I'm really, really intrigued by this. I'm really hoping I enjoy enjoy it. I'm pretty sure I will because I love mythology retellings in general. Greek mythology has been a hyper focus for me lately, so I want to see what I think. So we have it on the back here, which really intrigued me. It says, Penelope, immortalised in legend and myth as the devoted wife of the glorious Odysseus, silently weaving and unpicking and weaving again as she waits for her husband's return. Now Penelope wanders the underworld, spinning a different kind of thread, her own side of the story, a tale of lust, greed and murder. It sounds so good. Like, it really does sound so good. Okay, so we have an introduction which just gives an overview of when this has all taken place and what was going on at the time. Now that I'm dead, I know everything. That sounds so good. Like, that's the first line to hook you in. So yeah, I'm really intrigued. I've heard a lot of good things about this. So on that same day that I was getting frustrated with not being able to find like Dracula in the edition that I wanted, I did find Far From the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. Now, I wasn't originally going to get this one because I haven't read it, but I do want to read it. I want to read more of Thomas Hardy's work, and I know that these are the editions that I actually want to collect, so I was like, well, I may as well. It's amazing. Look at all the bees. Look how lovely that is. That's beautiful. I think it's stunning. And this one, I don't know too much about it, but I have heard like lots of people say like after Tess of the D'Urbervilles, this is a really good one by him. So like these were the two that I knew. Tess of the D'Urbervilles and Far From the Madding Crowd are the two that I see everywhere. But this one is Hardy's powerful novel of swift sexual passion and slow burning loyalty centres on Bathsheba. Oh my gosh, that's a really confusing name. Everdeen, a proud working woman whose life is complicated by 3 different men. Respectable farmer Boldwood, seductive Sergeant Troy, and devoted Gabriel, making her the object of scandal and betrayal. Sounds really good. The thing is, Tess of the D'Urbervilles was heartbreaking in its own way, and it really explored society at that time, the way they view women, the way it's so difficult for women to just have their own choices, have their own rights, be able to do what they want with their bodies. Like, he really highlighted that. So in all honesty, I'm expecting more of the same. But alongside that, you had this beautiful writing that depicted the English countryside so well. So I'm really intrigued. I actually want to save this for summer, which I know is ages away, but I really do. Like, I found that I am a bit of a seasonal reader. I never thought I was. Mainly because I used to read fantasy all year round, never stop. But I have noticed now that there are certain books where I'm like, I want to save this for summer, or I want to save this for autumn, winter. Let me know, are you a seasonal reader? Is that something like, or do you not care and you read whatever all the year round? Like, I definitely find that something like this, I just feel like summer is the perfect time because it's set in English countryside. And to me, that screams spring, summer. Maybe I'm just weird. That is, I mean, my partner would agree with that statement. Oh, wait, first line. When Farmer Oak smiled, the corners of his mouth spread, till they were within an unimportant distance of his ears. His eyes were reduced to mere chinks, and diverging wrinkles appeared round them, extending upon his countenance like the rays in a rudimentary sketch of the rising sun. I mean, all of that just to explain a smile, like, that's lovely. Then I have a book that I actually want to read soon, and is something that when I saw it, I didn't originally plan to buy this one, but when I saw it, I knew that I definitely wanted it. And that is A Room with a View by E.M. Forster. So me and my partner, we're actually going to Italy in November. We're going to Rome, and this takes place in Italy. So I knew that I wanted to read this while I'm in Italy. Like, I think that's going to be fantastic. So when I saw this in Waterstones and I was annoyed that I couldn't find the books that I wanted, I picked up this one and I thought this is going to be perfect for Italy. Like, I'd planned to actually get it closer to the time, maybe just before we went away. I mean, getting it now is fine. Again, English Library edition. So we have this beautiful cover. Honestly, just all the patterns and designs of these English libraries are just so good, and they're so soft and fluffy and just perfect. But yes, I'm going to be reading this in Italy. And this is In a Sunny Tale of Love and Liberation, Lucy Honeychurch is transformed by the characters she meets on her first trip to Italy. Flamboyant romantic novelist Eleanor Lavish, the Cockney lower class Mr. Emerson, and most of all, his passionate unconventional son. Returning to her traditional home and family, Lucy finds herself torn between the intensity of her experiences in Italy and the repressed morals of English middle-class society, a conflict personified in the 2 very different young men she finds courting her attention. It sounds lovely, it sounds really good. In all honesty, again, this is one that I would keep for summer, but because I'm going to Italy. And I'm so excited, like I cannot wait. I've always wanted to go to Rome, like it's one of my bucket list destinations to go to. And I just feel like reading a book that is partly set in Italy is just gonna be fantastic for it. So yeah, I can't wait. It's not even long either, so yeah, this is gonna be so good. Let me know if you've read this one. I know Carolyn from Carolyn Marie Reads, who I'll have linked below, she really adores this book and she recently got Emmy to read it. Again, I'll have her channel linked below, and they both adored it. So I'm really excited. I can't wait. One, I can't wait for the holiday, let's be real. And two, I think this is going to be the perfect book to read there. So yeah, very, very excited. Then I picked up a copy of Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is not one that did I pick it up after that Waterstones visit? I think I did. I did actually, because I was complaining to my partner about the fact that I couldn't find the Dracula one in Piccadilly. And I was so frustrated, and I was like, actually, you know what? Let me check my local Waterstones in Bromley. We'd met up for lunch and he said, well, why don't you just look? So we went there, we looked, and it wasn't there either. Dracula it wasn't there, it was not happening. But they did have Frankenstein, and this was the only copy that they had of it. As I've been saying, I do want to collect the English Library editions. I really want to transfer all of my classics into this edition. I mean, some of my absolute favourites, I am going to keep multiple editions of these books because I love them, but I definitely want them, like if they're available in the English Library, I want them in the English Library editions. So that's what we did. I went and picked up this one. Just the art style. Like, look at that. It's fantastic. Again, iconic orange stripe. Just, they look so good on the shelves as well, and they're actually my favourite to read from. I might do maybe a video on my different classics if you guys are interested, like the different classic editions and what I like about them, because there are ones that I like for particular things, but these are my favourite to read from. Let me know if you're interested. This is fantastic. Again, I've only read Frankenstein once before, and that was years ago, so I would like to do a reread. Again, if you don't know what this is about, I will be surprised. It's literally Victor Frankenstein is going to university. Basically, this is dark academia. This is dark academia. He's going to university and he decides to test the boundaries of life and tries to create a person out of dead body parts and reanimate them, and that creates Frankenstein's monster, who he never names, so as a result is also called Frankenstein. I love this, and she wrote this when she was 19. So this is letter 1, St. Petersburg, December the 11th, 17, and doesn't give it the year. You will rejoice to hear that no disaster has accompanied the commencement of an enterprise which you have regarded with such evil forebodings. I know I've been saying about all of them, but I'm so excited. Yeah, I really want to read this one. And likewise, I picked up Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde in the English Library editions. As we know, I've literally just said it, I love this edition. This is beautiful. I want to collect my classics in this edition. I actually picked this one up because I had £10 worth of Waterstones points, which didn't use up all of them. I think I've still got, yeah, like £3 on there. So very happy with this one. Again, we know what this is about, so I didn't actually explain what Dorian Gray is about, but again, if you don't know, I'll be surprised. Most people do class this as dark academia as well, which I suppose, yes, I can see that in a way, but not with the hyper fixation on one particular subject. It's more the debauchery and stuff, but Dorian Gray does spend a lot of time learning about lots of different things. Regardless, the first line is exactly the same. So that's really interesting. But again, the studio was filled with the rich colour of roses, and when the light summer wind stirred amidst the trees of God, like, it's exactly the same, word for word, exactly the same. And that's what I'm saying, I'm going to be so excited to read the uncensored version to see what variations there actually are. Okay, so then we have a book that my mum gifted to me, and that's The Mysteries of the Yellow Room by Gaston Leroux, and I'm so excited about this one. So my mum watched my 24-hour readathon, and in there I was reading The Phantom of the Opera, and I liked it. It was a good book. I would say out of Gothic literature, does it hit my top 5? No, it doesn't, but on the notes of the text, there was a part in there where it said about this book and how this book was the first locked room mystery and how much it inspired Agatha Christie. And I want to read Agatha Christie. I'm going to be starting one of the short stories that has Miss Marple in it this evening. I'm really, really excited for it all. I of course had to read a book that's inspired an author that I can't wait to read from. That's one thing that I do love to do, is if I've read a book that's been inspired by another author, I want to read that author's work to see where those inspirations, like how has it developed, where has it gone. It's a weird thing, and it means that I'm never ending with books to read, but I love it. It's something that I genuinely enjoy, and I love when I can make comparisons between books and see those inspirations and those links and stuff. Like, it's genuinely just a favourite of mine. Like, I love it. So yeah, very, very excited. So this one is a murder mystery, and there's been a violent attack and they're trying to work out what on earth happened. I'm really excited, and I love this edition that my mum got. Just the artwork on that is just amazing. It's fantastic. And although it's a hardback, it's actually the size that I like for hardbacks. It's a short hardback. So yeah, this is perfect. Okay, it's the first line. It is not without a certain emotion that I begin to recount here the extraordinary adventures of Joseph Rouletabille. Oh my gosh, that's a really complicated surname. Rouletabille? Oh, here, I have no idea. Then we have another book that was gifted to me, and that is Emma by Jane Austen, but in the Penguin Deluxe Classic editions. I love these editions so much. They are my guilty pleasure buys. They are gorgeous. Just look at that. Look at that stunningness. It's so beautiful. They have French flaps as well, so the artwork will wrap around everything, and deckled edges. Love it. I recently read Emma earlier this year, actually I think only a few months ago, and loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. It's probably my favourite Jane Austen book. And Claire Fenby, I'll have her channel linked below, she gifted this to me as a thank you for always supporting her content. And I mean, I can't believe she sent me this as a thank you, because in all honesty, like, I should be thanking her because she's the reason why I got into all of this, like, and started up my own channel, and my love for classics developed so much because of her love of it. But she did, she sent me this. I can't believe it. I'm so happy with it. And yeah, I love it. I love these editions so much. I forgot the first line again. Emma Woodhouse, handsome, clever and rich, with a comfortable home and happy disposition, seemed to unite some of the best blessings of existence, and had lived nearly 21 years in the world with very little to distress or vex her. It's just, it's such a fun book. It's such a feel-good book. Okay, last few. We have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. Again, this is another gift, so thank you so much to Naomi who sent this to me for reaching 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube. Yeah, lovely. Again, like, I know you guys are saying like thank you and a well done and stuff, but I just genuinely thank you for doing this. Like, this means so much. So yeah, I love this. Again, I think people that have been following me for a little while know how obsessed I am with these covers, and I think from this video you'd understand that. But once again, amazing design. I love the colours. It's just so perfect. Sense and Sensibility I read last year and I did really enjoy it. It's hard. I did a whole ranking Jane Austen video, which I'll have linked below if you're interested. Although this one ranked lower, which spoilers for that video, I still really enjoyed it. Like, it's so full of scandal and just so much fun. And this one is about two sisters and their love and entanglements and all the mess, and literally this book is just scandal. The family of Dashwood had been long settled in Sussex. And that's the first line. Also from Naomi, we have The Unspoken Name by A.K. Larkwood, and this is one that I've mentioned quite a bit because of the fact that she sent it to me. It's also on my September TBR, so I'm hoping to get to this one as well. This is, I'm really excited for. We're actually following, so it is a fantasy, and we're following, I'm pretty sure authors just like smash on their keyboard to come up with names, but we're following Corsory. She was raised by a death cult steeped in old magic, and I am so intrigued just from that, just with the death cult. I want to read it so much. So yeah, so thank you again to Naomi for this. I'm really excited. Definitely want to get to it this month. I mean, I do have one heck of a master list TBR, but this is one of the priorities for the month. Oh, there is a pronunciation guide, but not for the name, just for the different places in there. But yeah, there's a list of like different people, pronunciation guides. Ooh, and there's even a bit here where it says The Chosen Bride. And this is from the Book of the Unmaking, which is a book within their world. That sounds really good. That looks really good. But let me do the first proper sentence. So, in the deep wilds of the north, there is a shrine cut into the mountainside. I'm actually really intrigued. I really want to read this one. Maybe next week from when I'm filming this. So maybe by the time this video goes up, I would have read this one. I'm sure editing me will let me know, unless of course I edit this very early, which is always a possibility. And the final book I picked up is Anne Radcliffe, The Italian. And this one I found for £3 because there is a bookshop in Lewes that specialises in books that publishers have done like too many, so like there's overflow of stock, and so they buy them as a really cheap price and sell them off at a really cheap price, and they're all brand new. Like, I thought they were second hand because they were so cheap, and realised they're brand new. Oh, I could have spent so much money in there, but they are all slightly different editions of books, so things that I haven't seen normally, and that is because they are the things that don't sell as much, like they're excess stock. This one I picked up because I want to read The Mysteries of Udolpho by Anne Radcliffe, and I was watching a video by Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin. He was reading all the Jane Austen books, and he was saying how Northanger Abbey, there's so many ties back to The Mysteries of Udolpho, but that he actually did a dissertation on Anne Radcliffe's works, and he says that The Italian is better. So when I saw it, I had to buy it. Like, how can I say no to that? I don't know too much of this one about. I know it's a gothic horror. Yeah, it's the masterpiece of gothic fiction. Oh yeah, this is what I remember. We're following a malevolent monk, like he gets corrupted. And I remember saying like, why is it always the monk that is the bad guy? Why are they always the villain? But they are. I don't really want to know loads going into this one. I do feel like this is a much more accessible book than The Mysteries of Udolpho. About the year 1764, some English travellers in Italy, during one of their excursions in the environs of Naples, happened to stop before the portico of Santa Maria del Pineto, a church belonging to a very ancient convent of the Order of the Black Pennants. Actually, is this one set in Italy? Well, it must be. It's The Italian. I swear my brain cells will kick in eventually. So maybe I'll take this one to Italy as well. Maybe I'll take this one in A Room with a View. That could be fun. Reading 2 books set in... yeah. There we go. We know when we're going to be reading this one then. But that's it. Those are all the books that I got in the last couple months, along with the thrifted books. I'll have that video linked below in case you didn't... yeah, in case you want to watch that one. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with all of these, and thank you so much to everyone that's gifted me a book. It means so, so much, and I know that you guys say I don't have to say thank you, but I do. I appreciate it so, so much, and I never thought I'd get to this point where people are actually like wanting to send me books as a thank you, like mind blown. But yeah, so thank you so much. I think for this one, because some of these were like full priced purchases, let's put the shopping bag emoji if you've made it this far, and thank you. Thank you again. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give it that thumbs up, subscribe, comment to let me know that you're here. Social media links will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the next one.